Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and to another Warehouse interview. Tonight, I'd like to welcome Dave DuPree to the channel. He was in the 80s band Gotham. They were in the Spokane, Washington area. They recently just got a CD reissue on the melodicrock.com label. We're going to talk about that record. Going to talk to Dave. Let's do it.
Crank it up and piss off the neighbors. Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and to another Warehouse interview. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Dave DuPree to the channel. He was the lead vocalist, keyboardist for a band. We've played their stuff before. Gotham. Very melodic pop rock band from Spokane, Washington, active in the 80s. They just got a recent CD reissue of this fine record. Well, actually came out on tape originally. Just got a fresh reissue from melodicrock.com. So we're going to talk about it again. Dave DuPree, how are you? Nice to see you.
I'm great, Grant. Thank you so much for bringing me on the show. I'm excited to be here and ask away.
What have you been doing lately to keep yourself busy? I know before we started this interview, you were out gardening.
I'm a little bit sweaty. It's 90 degrees in Spokane. If I turn my camera over there, I can look out this window over the city, and it's smoky. I mean, thick. We just had 3,500, 4,000 acres fire here.
Yeah, I saw it on the news.
And it just came through, and it actually burned a good portion of the city, 600-700 houses.
Oh, my Lord.
We had a guy stay with us here because, there's a lot of refugees. Their houses are burned. And a wide variety of neighborhoods. I mean, some really nice neighborhoods up there. These people are like, uh-oh, what do we do now? So that's happening. Yeah. But other than that, I like Spokane. I've lived here all my life. And I was out gardening. Yes, I have a big garden up here, and I've been retired, if there is such a thing.
Well, I hear that you can. I've heard about it.
I just went to my 50th year anniversary, high school anniversary, and I walked in and went, wow, these people are old. It's very surprising. But it was lovely seeing all the people from high school. I was the ASB president, so they're all like, dude, ASB president. And I truly, the only reason I was is because I had a really good kegger. And I think that's all you got to do. So kids.
What is it? What did they say you were an ASB?
Yeah, the high school president down at Lewis and Clark High School.
Okay. So you were the president. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Body. That's what ASB stands for. And, I was also quite a nerdy kid. I mean, I played classical piano and jazz band. I was in the marching band. I actually played a mirphone in the orchestra, which is a 4-valve tuba, huge, the longest wind instrument. And then I played the sousaphone, the great big white fiberglass sousaphone in the marching band with one of the guy named Rusty, who was big and strong. I was this little stick of a guy. I wrestled at the lightest weight class, which was not even 100 pounds. I never won a single match because I couldn't. This unbelievably talented Japanese kid who just won state every year. It's like great. But that wasn't my passion. My passion was music. I got into the bands, and once I played the Fender Rhodes, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And that became a very favorite instrument of mine of all time.
What was it about the Fender Rhodes that drew you into it?
Oh, it's got the lazy keys. You're playing it, and they're thick and they're heavy. And I'm a tinkerer, so I was able to get into the thing and actually adjust the touch of the machine. Mm-hmm. It's not a machine. It's like a piano. It's very mechanical. But You can get tines, flat tines and hammers. But you can actually change the finger feel. And it's really cool. And back then, remember Steely Dan came out, and and I loved it. But it was a suitcase model, so you have to it comes with a great big bass double speaker, and when you set the vibrato, the vibrato is going from one front to the well, I actually wired it that way. So it was the front left speaker to my side right speaker, the vibrato. Wow, talk about mess with your head.
So it was like in stereo.
Yeah, stereo and quadraphonic,
Oh, geez.
and that came into play in one of the sessions that I did with Carrie and Bob down in Nashville. We're up in this attic studio, and we all timed our vibe, and it's really powerful in that recording. That was a cool, Fender Rhodes moment for me.
Yeah, I get it. Well, so you were a nerd in high school. You played in marching band. Of course, you've played keyboards. How did you make that transition from that style of music, I guess, to the rock and roll? I know you went to Washington State University and you were in a band called Smiler, and you toured with the band Lion. To me, it just seems like quite a progression for you. You know what I mean?
College was great. Smiler was a 7-piece band, 3 guitar players. We play Skinner. We play all the exact. Everything was very exact, and it was fun. You're hucking your gear in and out of dorms and frats and clubs and trying to get grades.
Yeah.
But right after that, I really, my family had a business, and I was, being directed towards that. And yet I came home and said, you know what? I really want to go on the road with a couple of guys from college. So I grabbed a friend of mine, Terry and Dak, and we formed a band, and we took off as Smiler on the road for a good 3 years. Our first gig, we had an agent. We played Seattle. Our first big gig was up in Cordova, Alaska. Tiny little town. You had to fly in, no road. Yes. And that was like a 6-week gig, dude. And then we came back to Seattle. I flew back into Seattle, and boom, we're all the way into Montana. And then we're from Bozeman, Montana, which is a college town, great town. And then all the way down to Phoenix, Arizona. Seriously, week to week. And cut my teeth. And then Lion called and said, hey, we need a lead singer. Same agent that represented us represented Lion, and Lion was losing their lead singer. And so jumped into that band, and that was a big, 45-week a year gigging, road crew, a big light show. I mean, very pompous. Woo! We had the light person was the wife of the drummer, and she was very artistic with our stage stuff. Mm-hmm. And impressive, really, fog lighting. And so we played big shows, and we had a spotlight guy, the whole 9 yards. I was really fascinated. And I took a Foztech 8-track on the road with me because the road crew guys would load it into the hotel, and I could write and record songs. And that progressed. And finally, we had people looking at us. Tom Tremuth. I remember Honeymoon Suite. I got a new girl now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
In Chicago, and saw us play. And it was a pretty terrible night for us. And he was taking a pass, but he kind of took me aside and said, hey, man, let me give you my number. Give me a call. So Lion played 45 weeks out of the year. And I called Tom.
God. Wow.
Hey, what's going on, Tom? Yeah, 45 weeks a year. We lived on the road. Mm-hmm. And in my break, I decided, you know what? Tom said, I want you to fly up here to Toronto. I'll put you up. I got a couple songwriters. You got a great voice. And I liked a couple of songs that you did. And I sent him some other stuff. And he said, yeah, get up here. So on my break, I went up, and that was it. I came back and said, I'm not going to be in the band anymore. I want to write songs, and I want to move in this direction. Carrie, who was also in Lion, the bass player, left, and he's from Idaho. So he's real close to us here. And he and I met this guy named Bob, who was back then they had rhythm players and lead players. And Bob was a rhythm player, and he was great. Just a great dude, a great rhythm player. And he was the kind of guy, and so was Carrie, where we would sit around and just sing, whether we had instruments or not. All the time. It was, we're in the car, we load. I remember Carrie got us these gigs in Idaho. I mean, you're talking about more people than teeth, and I mean, there's gigs. There was this one gig where we're playing, and the place, there's maybe only 5 or 6 people on the dance floor at the time.
Yeah.
really small Idaho dive, right? And we can't breathe because of the armpit odor. And Gary lays his bass down mid-song, goes back into his little gig bag, pulls up a can of Right Guard, goes out under the dance floor, and just sprays these people down.
How did that go over? I can't imagine that went over very well.
It was best of best times, I got to say. And really, it centered around kind of Coeur d'Alene Lake area. A lot of resorts, really fun places to play. And we didn't even really have a name for the band, but we were pretty high test for these kind of gigs. So people were just fascinated by, wow, they'd call out a tune and we just fake it and we get close. And thus started what we called Fake It and Suck. We didn't care. Call out a tune, we'll fake it and suck, and we got into that. But we were driving down the left side of Coeur d'Alene and there's a bay called Gotham Bay. So on our way to a gig, like, I don't know, maybe the 10th gig we've even played together. And we said, let's call ourselves Gotham. Okay. And that was Gotham. And I lived in a house in Spokane. I put a studio in the basement, and Carrie and Bob lived real close, I don't know, 5 blocks from me. And we started writing. And I had a ton of songs already. And so it was, but I was basically just using drum machines. I had an emulator. The very first kind
you had an emulator,
a sample keyboard, and I really used it to multi-track. So I do a vocal track, and then when I hit the harmonies, I do 3 harmonies to myself, put it on one key, do 3 harmonies to the second harmony. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I could stack it up, and so when I got to the chorus, all I had to do was go, and I'd have basically real thick. What's the band that Mutt Lange recorded? Man,
Def Leppard.
That was kind of what I. But of course, the fact that we were sampling it gave it a really interesting sound. But that's all over these recordings.
Well, because the emulator, if I remember right, wait a minute, what did Todd Rundgren use? Did he use an emulator?
That was what he did. He recorded an entire album with an emulator.
Yeah, a cappella.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a fan. If anybody here listening to this interview, you should go out and listen to Todd Rundgren a cappella because it's absolutely fantastic. For if you want to see someone able to use an emulator or a sampler, there you go. That's all you need to do. Check that out.
Then called Wendy Carlos, and Wendy was one of the transgender. I think it was Juan Carlos. I can't remember which way she went.
He was Walter Carlos first.
Yeah, I don't. But the thing that got me was this person had a Prophet 5, and I had a Prophet 5, and you could actually retune a Prophet 5 to any scale you wanted. And Wendy Carlos did an album in various scales, different scales. Another, not a 12-tone scale. A 13-tone scale, a 14-tone scale. And you want to see something, go look that up. That'll twist your brain. I never got into that. I was a lot more simple than that. But so anyway, Gotham was playing all over the place, and we actually put out this tape to begin with, this little cassette, that guy. And Tom, and I better not say his name. He really wants to be sneaky and unknown, but he's in LA, and he had picked this tape up when he saw us do a show in Spokane. And he called us just a couple years ago and said, "Hey, I want to remaster this. Do you have the masters?" And I just moved and built a new house here, and I had all this stuff just strewn about. And so I dug through everything and sent him all the masters. And we had some of the stuff was on a Kai 1212, those VHS tapes.
Yeah. I remember. Yes, I remember those.
It has a sound, and people like it. But we had to send those tapes back to the bid because my Akai 1212 had a broken tape drive, so I couldn't capture wave files. So we sent it back to the Midwest to this guy who did it for us, or Tom did, and thus became that to this, and then Tom, we've developed quite a relationship, and he has said, "Hey, gosh, this really did well. Why don't we do another one? Do you have any more material?" So I sent him, I have a lot of stuff, a lot. So I sent him, hundreds of songs, and he dug through stuff. As a matter of fact, I just looked on BMI as I'm adding things recently, 500 songs that
Wow.
I got on BMI. So I sent him a pile of stuff, and he dug through it and said, "Oh, we got a double CD here that's worthy, and it's very different." Gotham had its own style, and then the second project, Manito, that's on CD, had its
Right.
own style.
Yeah,
And
if you look at this, for anybody, this Gotham reissue that came out on Melodic Rock, there are 3 tracks from that band on here,
yeah,
Manito.
different formations. Manito Park's got three: Girl in Green, One Last Look, and Daydreamer. But the progression of writing and players is complicated, and I should probably put a bio together so that people can dig through it to get all the info. Or we don't really have a website or anything for that kind of. That's going to be you.
That's that's me. Yeah.
You're the brain. But yeah, Manitou. Then the studio really elevated to the point I was doing jingles during the day and actually making a ton of money. We started the Coeur d'Alene Resort. We were playing 5 or 6 nights sometimes. Well, we break down. I told you this before. 6 nights at the Coeur d'Alene Resort, break down, go over to Spokane, set up, play one night at the Sheraton, break down, go back, and sometimes we'd even break down and play on a Saturday, Sunday at a wedding or at the NIC college. I look back through the records. There was many weeks where we played more than 7 times in a week, a lot, but we made so much money. And then that band got seen by, we were close to Fairchild Air Force Base, and a wonderful lady, I still remember her, Major Me, that was her name. She was a major in the Air Force, and she asked us to go on tour for military. And I went through the process. We had to go get shots, and we left Spokane in the winter, and 26 hours later, we got off a plane in Al-Khar, Saudi, and it's 110 degrees, and we're in an air-conditioned tent, thank God. But we're playing for 3,000 people on a flatbed, and bam, best shows out of all those shows that I've ever done, all those military shows. So then we started doing those, and for the next 5, 6 years, 7 years, we would dedicate time to go do, whether it was a month or 2 months, a tour somewhere in the world. The logistics are great. They move you around very well. There's some dangerous situations we got ourselves into, but the military is there to, they cover your butt. But it was fabulous. That was one of the best things. You talk to, Bob, and it's like, oh my gosh, we talk, we go through pictures, and it's like, oh, these were some of the, but I mean, the Azores, who plays in the Azores? These islands that are halfway between New York and Portugal. In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is a Portuguese group of islands, and the Air Force has a base there. So we landed this, and we had time. We had a few days to run around on scooters and this island. It was like
Fantastic.
So stuff like that, just tons of stories, tons of videos, tons of pictures. I mean, we went to, when we were in, the time we went down to the Middle East, we ended up at the pyramids. That's the first stop. We land in Cairo, and we get up, and it's like, we look out our window. Wow, there's the pyramids. So we go over there, and then lo and behold, that night, they're having a light show being shown up on top of the Great Pyramid, and it's Pink Floyd. And
how cool is that? Wow.
Drummer Mike Kemp at the time pawns his watch to this Cairo dude, like in a uniform, and says, "Hey, we just want to go up and go in," and so the guy lets us in this place, and Mike and I climbed all the way to the top of that pyramid, and it's in the night, and the spotlight's coming around for the show, and we're ducking down, and I swear to God,
that's insane. Wow. Yeah, I don't think they let you do that anymore.
And those blocks. Oh, it was nuts. I think about it now. We could have got beheaded, but yeah. I mean, the blocks are chest high, each one. By the time we were just exhausted.
My God, how long did it take you to climb up there? How long did it take you to climb up there?
We were jackrabbits. I mean, it took a while.
Yeah, well, you guys were a bunch of young guys. Yeah.
We're we're band guys. We're built like little spiders,
Just like little insects climbing up the pyramids. I was curious about all these gigs and everything. Did you guys do any live recordings at all? And how did you guys work your sets? I mean, was it pretty much regimented? Would you mix up your set lists? Did you do a lot of improvisation? How did things flow back in the day for you guys?
Once again, the variety is huge. If we're doing cover tunes, the fact that we played at the Coeur d'Alene Resort for so long and so we knew thousands of songs. And sometimes I'd forget lyrics, but I got really good at just faking things and making stuff up, and it became entertainment. But when you're sitting there in front of, like, Monday in Cairo, you're playing for an entire Air Force base. Tuesday, you're or let's say base of Mount Fuji, you're playing for Marines who are drinking, and they want to just hear just crazy Pearl Jam and everything you could possibly rage to, and they're stage diving onto concrete. Yeah. The next night you're playing in an embassy and you're playing jazz. Our band was capable of doing that. Cover originals. We wrote a song called When We Were In, that was the Saudi. Come on, sniff my butt. Come on, sniff my butt. And we told them, okay, we're going to have a break in this song, guys. And when we break, you say, smells good, okay? And so, come on, sniff my butt. Smells good. And we did that once at an open air embassy. There was a bunch of really drunk Canadian military and fancy people. And as soon as we do that break and they go, smells good, we hear prayer time going off downtown.
Oh my.
Uh-oh. Did we just start an incident? I mean, but to answer your question, actually, originals were very different. Original shows were very different than cover shows. We did a lot of cover shows because that got us places. But then when people say, hey, you guys know any originals, or if it was just an original show, those varied too. We had shows that were pretty full, make it sound like it does. And some were acoustic. And we got really good at, like our drummer back then, Rusty, played djembe, that's just big hand drum.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Bob would play guitar. We were very acoustically, we'd sit around all the time and so we were capable. A lady heard our stuff down in LA, a publisher, and set up a tour down there for us to go down when Manitos were starting to get hits up here in Spokane. We actually had a song called One Last Look that beat Bryan Adams out regionally on Billboard. And so that got their attention. And this gal called us up and said, hey, come on down. We want to do some showcases. So we played the Troubadour. We played all the Roxy, all the big clubs. And we were pretty green. And all these guys are real cocky. But when we got up and sang, they were like, wow. And we didn't have drums. We just sat up there. Rusty played the djembe. And we were super vocal.
That's crazy. Wow.
Or people started doing acoustic sets. Remember that? Like the band Extreme, they started doing it. Going around we were extremely good at that. And so we had a record label, hey, come into my office tomorrow. Hey, here's my card, and so we walk in and he'd be like, did you bring your instruments? And we're standing there with a guitar. And we go, yeah, we'll play right here at your desk, bro. And we just whip into it. And the guy's like, hair blown back, like, okay, you guys are the real deal. And we're like, yeah, we play every day and sometimes twice in a day. We know what we're doing, at least that way. But we were very, very different and kind of, they're like, wow. So we got, we were offered, and I went to school and I studied business law. And I looked at the contract and said, this is slavery. The contracts back then, even now, they remaster your stuff. They own the masters. They send you out on tour. They want a tour guy to go with you. He's going to take 15%. They wanted 50% of our merch on the road. I'm crossing all these out and re-offering, counter offering on these things, but they just go, hey, F you, we got plenty of guys that'll.
A lot of people to sign if they want to. Yeah.
Band was making a ton of money. We were buying houses and cars. We were functionally living large. And people in LA they don't even have these musicians, Betancourt's driving a piece of crap car and they're on their second album with, 5 #1 hits and they're not making a dime.
You probably owe the record company God knows how much.
you've heard the stories. I mean, Tom Petty just went nuts and stole his masters, but right, and good for him, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a
Well,
change.
well, you remember that Tom Petty was always at odds with the record company.
Yeah.
Hard Promises. They wanted to jack up the price on the record, and he said, "No, I don't want them. I don't want people to be charged this amount."
Yeah.
He was always at odds with them all the time. Ugh.
When you sign on that dotted line, and we didn't want any part of it, and it allowed us then to continue making a lot of different music and be in a lot of different situations that we wanted to do instead of what they wanted us to do. But granted, we never got huge. And, you know, I almost think my lucky stars, you know, fame can be very, you know, it's attractive, but I don't know why. It's kind of destructive is what it is.
Well, you were regionally huge just because you weren't nationally. You know, it's back in the day, you could be a band and you could be a really big band in a region. You know, since the whole Clear Channel thing, you know, they've homogenized radio. You know, back in the day, you could play your tracks. They would support you. Yeah. Those days are all gone. You know, everything's all homogenized. Wherever you go, it's all the same, you know?
That's how we got played was we went to stations here in Spokane, and they syndicated it to a couple radio stations in other cities, and it got airplay. It blew up, but they don't care. You know, it's like they used to, but they don't. That's not a reality anymore.
So there wasn't ever a time that you reflected on that whole period and go, "Well, maybe we should have signed with the record company just to get something out there on a major label." I mean, you could have. Not a chance.
No, as a matter of fact, my honest gut feeling has always been, thank God I dodged that bullet. Everybody feels that way. Well, Kerry, when he left us and went down to LA, he started playing with the River Dogs, and he got into some big shows. I remember him, he got called to go back up Heart as a bass player.
Oh, really? Nice.
Blah, blah, blah. But same thing, he's back up here in Spokane, living way out in the woods where he's from. Mm-hmm. He shows in this little dive on a Tuesday for when musicians want to come out and play. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much the best show in the Panhandle, or even, you know, and there's lots of this. And so he's going to play till he dies. That's his dream, and he loves it. His wife plays. They're really good.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's his passion, and he wants to do it. More power to him, right? That's how I look at it.
Matter of fact, NPR called up, and we went to support this new project, this new Gotham project. And we went into the studio, and we stopped on the side of the street, and we're like, what are we going to do? Can we play? Do you remember anything? And Kerry, Bob pull out their guitars. We're sitting on a blacktop in the middle of the street between these two cars. And I said, well, do you remember that song, Let It Go? And Kerry goes, Bob goes, and boom. And it was like, wow, let's go. And we walked in this guy's like, you got guitars? And let's go. And it's like we hadn't ever quit playing together. It was just, bam, the vocals were there. Everything was just, I was like, I haven't played with these. Well, I've played with Bob on and off for almost all my life. I've been with Bob more than any wife I've had. But yeah, Bob's my true, you know, my wife's down there somewhere going, what?
What is he talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah. Let me ask you this real quick. So you got approached about doing the reissue for Melodic Rock Classics. Okay, so it comes out of Melodic Rock Classics. And, you know, for the most part, unless you're in the region, this is pretty obscure. But how does it feel to have this remastered, reissued, as the title says, pictures with the Manito Park stuff on here? I would just be absolutely giddy.
Andrew McNeese is the guy. Well, you know, we'd had a few, I don't know what you call these labels, but, you know, the labels that go back and they look for things and they go, hey, what's this gem, you know? And
right.
He's got a great list of people out there, and we sent him one and he said, oh my gosh, let's go. And a matter of fact, he's all over the second. See, he wants to keep going. Do you have any more stuff? You know, I'm like, we got a ton of stuff. And so we've already signed to do the second one too, but he's a connoisseur, and there's a following, and it's pockets and it's not all the United States. North Europe is just I mean, I'm getting mailbox money from streaming now, which is 2 cents, but the sums are large, and it's like, wait, what? And this is Andrew's reach. People follow the guy and they follow his judgment, and he's been wonderful. And his accent is, of course, Australian, which is cool. Hey, mate.
It varies. You get a lot of support, so it must be nice. It's like kind of like that label Frontiers. Frontiers does a lot of, and that's Italian, but they do a lot of like I'm just going to throw it out. They'll have like a Night Ranger come back.
Yeah,
little records, and those Night Ranger records that are on Frontiers are fantastic.
Yeah,
it's like they never dropped a beat. You know what I mean? And it seems like Frontiers is one of those labels that really supports a lot of these legacy acts. And it's just like, here, record something, have at it. We'll put it out.
There's a Native American casino near us, within quite a few miles, but big shows and good. They're all still just fantastic. I mean, you walk in and you're like, what? So there's still places for, geriatric rockers to play. I don't really have it in me. I'm just totally in love with my wife, and I have a 17-year-old daughter that's about to graduate high school, and I can still play. I can still sing. I don't even need an instrument. Somebody will say, well, you're still writing, and I'll go, boom, and I'll whip out a song. I don't need those and work them into money.
Yeah. So how long Gotham, did you just do like a clean break? Because I know you, in the version of the Gotham, when you were playing out live, you were handling lead vocals, you were doing the keyboards, you were doing the drum machine. Is that correct?
Yeah, me or Carrie would do the drum machine, and I also did the lights. We were very multitask. We all had feet and hands going.
How did you do all that? Well, of course, you look at Rush. They did the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I have no idea because I tried to do it later on and I realized, oh, this is a learning curve. I don't remember the learning curve part of it. I just remember it was never difficult. It never seemed difficult. It was super, but you look back on little videos, these crappy little videos, and you're looking at it going, what the heck? What we were all doing and creating this 3-piece sound was like, I mean, and Rusty the drummer would play congas or a full kit or all the variations of how we played in different clubs we played. We weren't concerned about having a sound ever. We just went in to play music for people.
Mm-hmm. So what changed when Rusty came on board?
Well, Rusty...
Go ahead.
Well, when Jerry Jagger said, hey, look, we got this club up in Coeur d'Alene, we want you to play, it wasn't actually the Coeur d'Alene Resort first. It was one right across the street called the Fore and Aft. And the three of us with a drum machine worked out great. He said, you guys need to come across the street into this fancy hotel we just built and play there, but we want you to have a drummer. So the first drummer was a guy named Larry Garcia, and he played congas. So we still used a drum machine, but Larry was back there like a drummer. Mm. And then Rusty, somebody Carrie knew, and he played real AC/DC 4 on the floor. Solid. Had really long red hair, and blowing the wind, and he was great. And then the one of the employees in the hotel had a son named Mike who was just graduated, young guy, and he wanted to sit in with us, or she actually kind of forced him to sit in with us, and we went, oh. So Rusty left, or actually we dissolved the band. We quit the band, and this was our last night at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. Well, we quit the band and we started another band. We wanted to call it, well, I don't want to be derogatory, but we just changed the name. And Rusty was kind of feeling like it was a good time. I think he was ready to go. And at the same time, Carrie was kind of leaving, so the band was breaking up. But we got a guy named Lars Ziemba, who had never played bass in his life and started on keyboard bass and was one of the most talented musicians that's been in the band since. Fantastic vocals, everything. And Lars played with us for a few years, but it really stayed, me and Gotham was Carrie, Dave, and Bob. Manito was Dave and Bob and a few other musicians, and I changed them up during the recording phase of who was what. Lars is on a lot of those. Rusty's doing the drums on some. Guitar players came in, really good guitar player, like lead. Bob never wanted to be a lead player, but he plays lead on a lot of these. But we brought in some real hot shots, on a couple songs. And so it's varied, but that's why the sound kind of migrated, and also my head migrated. So, and it changed considerably. But still, I came back to Spokane, and finally I had a brand new daughter, and I said, look, I've got to be here for my daughter. And so I opened up a restaurant in town, and it became very successful. And I could go down and play at this restaurant with Bob. And we played a lot together as just a duo. And we just sit there and sing and play, and lots of people would come. I mean, people knew who we were. The town was very supportive, but we're still kind of just, what would you call it? Reveling in the, I mean, playing as much as we did. I don't think I could ever, these guys, there's guys my age doing that still, taking, maybe not the whole year. They go out and they play. They cram as many shows in as they can per week because that's how you make the money. Like Mick Jagger. Holy crap.
Wow. I just saw AC/DC like a couple of weeks ago.
How they do it. I mean, I know that they have to work their stuff up to get there.
Well, I kept thinking, this may sound bad, but I was watching Angus on the stage, and he's still doing the schoolboy thing, and I'm thinking, whew, that's really hard for me to. Maybe people like it, but I think it's time to ditch the schoolboy outfit. Just between us, I'm just going, well, okay, well, maybe people dig it. I don't know.
That's who he is, man. He lives in those knickers.
I guess, but whatever. I'm not like a hardcore AC/DC person. So maybe I'm, look at him with his long gray hair putzing around on the stage. I'm going, I don't know. Whatever.
You should see Carrie Bear, man. One of the original three. I just love this guy with all my heart. Super long hair, out doing shows with anybody, everybody, all the time. Solid as a heck. He plays guitar now. He doesn't even really. He can play bass great. That's what he was, but or with Lion. But he's a great guitar player and singer, and it's like he's not going to ever quit. So he'll feel over on stage one day,
So if you look back across the music and business chapters in your life. Just curious, what are you most proud of looking back?
I think the military tours were, there was purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain moments out there where, these guys are used to people dying, and it did happen. And there was a purpose beyond us for playing music. There was a show in North Korea, or on the DMZ up in South Korea, right up next to the border of North Korea. We could actually see the border. I mean, we got to go all the way, like Trump did. We got to go all the way into that building and cross over, put our little legs on the other side and go, I'm in North Korea, take pictures and leave. But we're playing for, I think it was 4th of July, and we're playing straight at monster PA, straight at North Korea. They can hear us clearly. And we look over, and Mike, the drummer at the time, looks up and goes, hey, we should play some Pink Floyd. And I'm like, and he starts in on Run Like Hell. And it's like, and the soldiers are just going bananas. And I'm thinking, we're going to start an incident. This isn't good. But we didn't care. And we blasted that song straight at North Korea. And it was like, at some reason, my heart was really with these guys at the time, just these guys with their lives on the line. Whether whatever the purpose for the United States being there, blah, 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 it's still a bunch of guys that are out there assigned to represent us and put their lives on the line. That's the kind of stuff that made me feel really good about doing it. Also, I suppose, oddly, the thing that makes me probably the biggest wonderful decision was, I met my current wife, and to find love and be a faithful person to one, and raise this daughter, that is huge. And I know it sounds cliche, but music, yeah, shows are cool.
Yeah.
You get family and some love, and that's really, really powerful. And so I'm proud of the fact that I've got this bond with this woman.
Fantastic. So is there anything else you'd like to share about Gotham, Manito Park, or that your whole journey that you've been on? Anything you'd like people to know?
I would love to just call out all the names that were involved, but I don't know if they'd want me to. But that's also something that I really wish, it's not me, and it's not, Bob, and it's not Carrie, and it's so many people. It's Tom, it's all the guys that helped us out. It's all the people that did all these things because they heard us and said, wow, let me help. And I've just forgotten a lot of this, but all the guys that played with, all the guys that came to the studio. I mean, there's just tons. All the guys that were on the road, Greg and Chris Lucas, and just tons of guys that were involved with this band. That I miss those relationships. I was in a little band up here called Foosball that was just wonderful. Just killer dudes. I felt like I'm the least talented person in this band, and they're letting me sing with them. No, you have to understand, they're really good.
Okay. Well, give yourself more credit, Dave. Come on.
Really good musicians. I'm good at entertaining, and I can sing and write, but I'm not like a lot of people that I've played with that are just virtuoso, super talented individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, Mike Kep, Evan, what a singer! I can sing. Evan could really sing. There's just tons of guys like that out there. Bob, just a natural, doesn't ever think he can do anything, but it's just built into him. So many guys, so it's not me. I was able to play with a lot of just amazing guys. It's kind of like when you're on a sports team and you get into a groove. When the groove hits, you feel it, and it's all of you, and the vibration at the time is just intoxicating. You hit that moment where you're in it, and it's hitting right, and the waves are coinciding. Nothing ever replaces that, and it becomes addictive to a certain degree. But I still have the ability to hang out with guys and play, and I'm happy about that. So
yeah, that's incredible. Do they have an ETA on this next collection that's the new two CD set that's coming out?
I suspect it will be out 2 or 3 months. It still has to go through Tom has pretty much finalized it. What is it, 15 songs? And now it goes to, the art is being discussed now. There's a guy in Italy that did the last art on this one. And he and I are supposed to kind of go back and forth. Yeah. On the next one, it's going to be called Gotham Discovery, 1985 to 1995. So it will have a lot of variations of tracks that we discussed.
There they are, kids.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, inside the original Gotham, you see that thing on
was the prereq on this photo that everyone had to have a long coat? I'm just curious.
Oh, dude. There was a guy in town that had a store that had cool clothes, and we jumped on. Yeah, and before this Gotham, the original Gotham, there's the original artwork that a guy in Spokane did.
I'll be darned. Oh, I saw that and it didn't register. Yeah.
That's my face. That's Bob's face. That's Carrie's face. That's Rusty's face.
How cool.
He got it. He got them very accurately. So.
All right, cool. Oh, yeah, if you look on the inside of this, I can show that. See,
yeah, we took it off that. We took it off that one. Oh, I wish I could remember the artist's name. Hang on, what's it say? Well, it's just the name of the art. It's called Masquerade.
Okay. All right, cool. So go to melodicrock.com. Check this out. Get yours today, kids. Get yours today.
Poor thing, the Alasta stage. If you go to Alasta stage, you could actually have vinyl printed, one at a time. Mine's on the way. I've ordered one. I've ordered one for my son. Oops, I'm supposed to be
quiet.
By the last stage,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows it, but yeah, they're printing vinyl album by album.
So they already have this there. You just go, yeah, I want this on vinyl, and you click the button and buy it, and they'll.
New projects will also be on that, so individuals can do it. If you buy one, the shipping costs are heavy. If you buy 20, I think, or something, you can get, it's a lot cheaper. But definitely melodic rock is, we want to support the heck out of Andrew.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot over there. Everybody just go check it out.
He's and you, Brant, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate all your help.
Hey, well, we're going to get
I
this
look at your
up.
back wall.
Oh, yeah. All my promo posters. Well, I dig this stuff. I think it's fantastic. I'm just trying to put the word out. I'm looking forward to the next 2 CD set that comes out. That'll be fantastic. And just give the band some love, go check out Gotham, everybody. So I guess we're done. Dave, it's been a pleasure. I will keep you posted when this goes up. Thanks for doing this. Everybody, please subscribe. We have a Patreon here. If you'd like to give the channel some love that way, we have a Patreon you can join. We also have a Ko-fi by the channel, or me, I guess it's me. A pint or a cup of coffee, that'd be fantastic. If that's too much, at least subscribe and like. I would love to do that. We're just here trying to talk music and talk about some of those bands that might have slipped through the cracks. So go check out Gotham. Go check out the CD. Buy the CD, support physical media.
Yeah, go to Grant Rock Warehouse. Woo!
Here we are.
Thanks, Grant.
Dave, thank you. Appreciate it. See ya.
This is Bill Cosby. Now that everybody has told you about the dangers of doing drugs, I'd like to tell you about some of the benefits. Just imagine yourself unconscious, making a visit to a hospital emergency room, weeks in rehabilitation centers, nights in overcrowded prisons, spending more money than you can afford, ruining your health, hurting your parents, losing your loved ones, and most of all, destroying yourself. Remember what I say about doing drugs. I think you can say no.